And so many of us get to that point, don't we? Where life just feels unbearable, the moment feels unbearable, grief feels unbearable, pain, emotional, physical pain feels unbearable. Of course, there can be a fear that you won't be able to bear it, okay? You're in the midst of pain, in the midst of discomfort, in the midst of a broken heart. You can think this is unbearable. The truth is, you are in that moment, and I'm only ever talking about the moment, you are already bearing it. And you can tell yourself that. If the moment was truly unbearable, if it was truly unbearable, you would go unconscious. The body has that built-in protection mechanism. If the moment ever truly gets to that point where it's truly unbearable, you'll go unconscious, so you won't be there to experience it. But as long as you're still conscious, still breathing, even if your mind is telling you, screaming at you, this is unbearable, this is unbearable, and even if the mind is going off into the future, going off into a future moment, or even the next moment, and this is what used to happen to me, it's going to be unbearable. The next moment will be unbearable. Like I was saying, like, you know, just that example with my dentist. But this happened in so many different ways. The fear was, it's going to be unbearable. The next moment will be unbearable, or it will become unbearable, and then it will kill me, and then all the fears come. So, of course, in that moment, you've left reality, you've left your actual experience, and you've gone up into the movie, and you've created a future scene. You're thinking about a future moment called the unbearable moment. And of course, you're not there yet, because if you really think about it and look, as long as you're thinking this is unbearable, you're bearing it. You're still alive. It can feel unbearable, and you can fear that it's going to become unbearable, but that's all mental activity. The truth is, if you come back to your present experience, I'm bearing it. I'm bearing it. I'm still conscious. I haven't gone unconscious yet. And if we want to talk on a deeper level, is it even you actually that's bearing it? Is it even you that's bearing it? It's like you're trying to bear it, and you're feeling as though it's unbearable. And maybe you're fearing that the next moment will truly be unbearable and it will kill you, or you'll go mad. And we talked about this in the last webcast. So there can be the fear of that. But the truth is, in the moment, you're bearing it. And not only are you bearing it, but on a deeper level, you are being born, you're being held. Something else is bearing it. Something deeper is bearing it. And now we're getting back to what we were saying about that deeper acceptance. That deeper acceptance, that presence, that which is always holding you, like the cosmic mother, the cosmic father, the beloved cosmic parent. Some people call it God, or the mystery, or life itself. Even in a moment where you feel this is unbearable, you feel unable to bear what you're going through, in that moment, something else is bearing you. Something is holding you, bearing you. You're being born. You're being held. Even in that moment, if you feel unable to hold yourself, or there's a fear that in the next moment you won't be able to hold ... You are already, even in that experience, even in that intensity, you're being held by presence, by life, by the earth, by the sky, by the mountains, by the infinite. even though this feels unbearable, I'm bearing it. Because if you weren't bearing it, you wouldn't even be able to think that it was unbearable, because you wouldn't be there to experience the unbearability. The very fact you are having an experience means the experience is bearable. Of course, it can feel unbearable. It can feel unbearable. But even that is that is just a frightened part of you. It's that lost, frightened child. It just needs some love. It just needs some love. So what used to help me was when I encountered those seemingly unbearable moments, unbearable feelings, unbearable pain. And again, before I say this, I'm not telling you that you have to force yourself to bear anything. I'm not saying that. This isn't about forcing yourself. And of course, in any moment, please feel free to shift your attention to a pleasurable sensation. Shift your attention away from the painful place. Do it consciously. That's an act of love as well. But what really helped me when I got to these moments of this feels unbearable, I can't take this, was just to notice I'm breathing. Notice my breath. Feel my feet on the ground. Listen to the sounds around me. I'm still alive. I'm still alive. And also knowing that if the moment, as I said, if the moment ever truly gets to the point of unbearability, if there is such a thing as an unbearable moment, the body will go unconscious to protect you. It's intelligent. So you never have to experience a truly unbearable moment. If you're experiencing it, you're already bearing it. If you can just remember that understanding really not just saved me, I think, but brought deep healing, like trauma healing. This is bearable. I'm bearing it. It feels unbearable, but I'm bearing it. Feels unbearable, but I'm bearing it because I'm alive, because I'm still here, because I'm afraid of it being unbearable. If it was truly unbearable, I wouldn't be afraid of it being unbearable. I'd be unconscious. So that's just my answer to that. I don't want you to take that as gospel truth. My answer to that question would be yes. All pain is basically bearable, and if it's not, you'll go unconscious. But that's just my answer to that question.